Are you the parent of a child that is an infant, a year or so or less, and you are constantly told about things that you should be doing, and you think about these things, you wonder, should I do this? Should I do that? And you are confused and befuddled. Your little one isn't sleeping well, and you just don't know the path to peaceful sleep and peace of mind. Well, if so, this episode is for you, because we are going to see that the answer to all of these infant, baby, sleep questions are really one and the same. And by the way, if you're new to our Baba Study channel, welcome. My name is Daniel. Myself with Coach Jamie and Coach Linda are hosting this channel. And yes, there are many suggestions when it comes to the sleep of a little one. And again, by little one, I am talking here really about an infant, a child that is about a year or so or less. And these can be questions or suggestions like these ones. Well, I'll up the questions here, but there are, of course, many suggestions. One question can be like, how do I put my baby down without waking them up? And we can wonder that because we've heard that we should put our baby down when they've fallen asleep, and we wonder, how do we do that without actually waking them up, for example? Or we can hear the opposite, that you're supposed to put your child down in their crib before they have fallen asleep. And then we wonder, is that really important? Like, is it important that my baby falls asleep in the crib so they learn to sleep there by themselves? Is that really a thing? Or we may wonder, like, should I use a monitor system or which one, et cetera, et cetera. And these are just three. I just picked three random questions to illustrate that there can be just a million ideas and suggestions for you, as if you don't have enough to think about being the parent of a little one. So how can I make this claim that we can really answer all these questions with one answer? Well, to begin to understand that, we can see the following, that any question can really be answered in what we can call the object level and the meta level. And so to just expand on this, we can take a question like, how do I bake bread? How do I make bread? The object level answer would be to say, okay, to bake bread, you take some flour, you mix it with this and that, and you put the oven on this and that, et cetera, et cetera. Then you answer this question on the object level. Now, to answer the question on the meta level, it would be the following. Somebody says, how do I make bread? And the answer would be like, well, why are you thinking about that? Why are you thinking about making bread? That's an answer. That's also a question, right? But this is not, now we're in the meta level. Now we're thinking about the thought of making bread, which is the two answers are very different, as you can tell. Now, here's the thing. Now, when we know this, we also need to know the following, that the reality when it comes to infant sleep is that what we as parents do has no significant impact when we compare it to what truly matters, which is simply the development of the brain, our little infant. That's what really is going to make a difference. Whatever things we do, they have little to no impact whatsoever when it comes to our baby's sleep. And now when we know this, we can see that the object level answer to all these questions about infant sleep is not what matters. So if we have this question, for example, how do I put my baby down without waking them up? We can see that we may very well, if you Google this or search online for the answer, you are going to get an object level answer, or many of them. People are going to say like, oh, you do it this way. Oh, you have to carry them like this, and then you put them in this direction and with this first, and blah, 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 blah. But in reality, that doesn't matter at all. Like, it doesn't predict anything. So the object level answer isn't what matters at all. What does matter is the meta level answer, which we'll talk more about in a second. But to stay on the object level, it's not what matters. But the tricky thing is that the object level answers can lead us to a lot of struggle and guilt, because we're getting this laundry list of instructions. And then we can think like we have to do these things. And the result, of course, is supposed to be that my infant sleeps easier. But when we try all these things and nothing changes, then we can often feel like guilty, and we're wondering if there's something wrong. We're critical of ourselves. We think maybe something wrong with our child. Like this, the object level replies to these questions can lead to a lot of struggle, guilt, shame, etc., etc. Now, the meta level answer to a question like, how do I put my baby down without waking them up, would be something like, why are you thinking about this? And how would you feel about, putting them down in this way or that way, right? It's going to be like exploring your thoughts around this. So the meta level answer in kind of like generalized is like, how do I think about myself and of this thing that I'm asking about, this thing I'm thinking about doing, right? And we can find that we go like, well, me, myself, I don't know. I don't really have a preference, right? And that's relief right there. Then we're like, okay, so there's no instruction. I can do what feels right in this moment. I can go by my intuition, in terms of like, look, putting my child down, right? So when we see that the only variable that really matters in terms of our own experience is how we think of ourselves and our baby's sleep. And in this really leads away from struggle, away from these laundry list of instructions, and towards a place where we're not hard on ourselves. We don't think there's a right or wrong. We don't think we fail. We don't think there's more things we need to do. And we can just focus on what matters, which is just like following our intuition and taking care of our little baby. So in summary here, you can see that when it comes to, like, I say all, no medical advice here. There, of course, may be questions that fall outside of this, but generally speaking, you can answer all of your baby sleep questions by asking yourself, how do I feel about this? How do I think about this? Does this sound like something nice for me? It is not, because again, we cannot really do anything about our baby's sleep itself, but what we can do is make things easier for ourselves. And this leads to peaceful sleep for us. It leads to peace of mind for us. When we can get sleep, it's, when we have a little one, they would keep us up often, but the sleep we get can be peaceful. And later down the line, as our kids are older, when you have a parent that has peaceful sleep and peace of mind, kids sleep easier as well. So it does help with kids sleep later on as well. So I'll conclude here. Hope this sort of universal answer to many infant and baby questions was helpful to you. And as we continue producing content here, we're going to go over many of these questions in detail, which in some way doesn't matter because now you have the universal code, but it can still be helpful to get that, all these questions contextualized one by one. So I'll conclude there. Hope this is helpful to you. And if you have any questions about your child's sleep or about, parenting and sleep in general, post them in the comment section. Bye for now.